All right. Hello again. We are here for another episode of Empowered Presence. I'm excited for this one because I love this young lady today. I've only known her for like 5 minutes, but I feel like we have spoken so much in the last few weeks that we've known each other. So today we're going to talk about her story, about how she has turned, as she calls it, years of randomness into a unique perspective, and that actually have paved the way for some impactful opportunities. She's the founder and CEO of KZ Hall Consulting, where she curates opportunities for businesses and individuals to actualize their impactful ideas through skills, strategy, and business development. She's always a talker and someone with a lot of opinions. Kijaffa Hall is now using her voice to create a community for current and aspiring business owners. She's the proud creator and host of Coffee and a Notepad podcast. And on there, she talks to guests about all things business, entrepreneurship, and creating success on your own terms. Kijaffa's a proud Brooklyn girl, now living in the Washington, D.C. area. And she's a lover of all things social media, Black TV, music, Sunday brunch with family and friends. Welcome, Kijaffa.
Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I feel like we talked so much in the short time we met, and it's been awesome and amazing. And as you can tell by that bio, I do a little bit of everything all over the place at one time, which is I'm starting to enjoy that all the things that I love to do and all the randomness is starting to converge into this one place, and really helping me to better serve my clients and individuals that are looking for support around their big ideas. But yeah, I did not have I was the girl who had no idea what she wanted to be when she grew up. Like, I did not come out of school with any thought of I wanted to, you know, go into corporate America, or I wanted to be a teacher. I just wanted to graduate. That was a number one. And my friends who watched me cry through the last sets of my accounting class will tell you it was a glug for me to get there. So I had no idea what I wanted to do. And my career, my time in higher ed, which is where I landed after graduation, allowed me to dip my toe into a lot of different spaces that I had not even considered. So even though I was working directly with students, I think I did a little bit of IT, I did a little bit of marketing, I did a little bit of social media, I did a lot of customer service. I've learned to code.
Wow.
So and all those things, I did not think that it would be part of my career. And here I am now using all of those skills to identify struggles for other people, to figure out solutions to problems. And then the fact that I can run my mouth, being able to host a podcast so I can, listen and converse with other people about their stories. So it's been quite a journey, but I'm glad I'm finding a way to make it all make sense together.
That's crazy. You definitely. So of course, most people know I was a resume writer for a long time. And clients like you, I'd be like, no. I'd be like, no, ma'am. What are we doing here?
What are we doing?
I used to always tell them it's a gift and a curse at the same time, right?
Yeah.
It's a gift because you can mold it into whatever you need to be. You could pull from this whole arsenal of skills and showcase what you need to show. But then at the same time, if you don't know how to do that, you're going to look like you're all over the place. And people get confused. People are like, huh? If they're coming to a situation looking for a certain thing and you have a little bit of that, but then you have a little bit of this and a little bit of this other thing, and a little bit of that next thing. They're like, "Well, are you sure you know how to do this one thing?"
Yes,
So
yes.
for me, trying to position people for jobs that have a specific set of skills and experience, it was like, "Listen, that's cool that you did that. You know, you flip burgers or you used to do accounting, but now we're looking at the job."
Yeah.
So
What we doing here?
what we doing?
Well,
Um, and what I did, I ended up getting really good at picking out little components of those quote unquote unrelated jobs to
mhm.
position them for the new job because there's
Yeah.
transferable skills all over the place. So talk to me a little bit about what that looked like when you were in the job market. Like, how did you
Yeah.
feel?
So interestingly enough, I didn't have to think about what all of those skills were until I decided to leave higher ed. So when I decided to quit and I had no job lined up, I had to figure out what I wanted to do, and I decided that I wanted to try to work for myself, right?
Mhm,
Okay, I have all these degrees. I've gone to school for so many things, like picked up certificates here and there. They got to count for something. So I didn't want to go back to school. It was the first time. I'm well into my 30s, and yeah, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up still, and I'm a full on adult. The first thing I had to do, and it was an exercise with my therapist, shout out to her, was to figure out what values mattered to me. So the
mhm,
things that were most important to me about whatever next step I was going to take, if I was going into another job or if I was going to work for myself, what's most important. And for me, it was always being able to be flexible, to be able to be creative, and to be able to be present for my family. And those had to be core to any next step. The next thing I had to figure out was, what do I want to do on a daily basis? And I am definitely a person who is like, today I just want to play with glitter and glue and sit in my craft room and draw. And then other days I'm like, no, I look at a problem and I'm like, I want to figure out what the issues were. And that was a harder one. So I just picked a space and I leaned into strategy development. I always enjoy puzzles, and so I started to realize there was no one way to strategize around something. And the fact that I was so creative and I enjoy looking at things from different angles, that having that kind of mind allowed me to just strengthen that strategic planning side, to do a lot of different, you know, approaches to analysis and problem solving. And so I grounded myself in one space, but I also allow myself to pull in those other skill sets in order to support it. And so that's that's been really helpful, because otherwise one day I'll be, you know, all deep into business strategy, and the next day I'm like, I am going to create the largest painting of nothingness with all the pinks that I can find, and none of it is actually going to be helpful for
mhm.
my household, my bank accounts, my
Oh,
sanity.
no. Yeah,
Uh,
no.
so
That's
yeah, grounding myself in one space has been helpful.
yes, that's yeah. You know, I'm curious to know, how did you end up in all these different things? Like, was it something, at your job where they said, hey, Kiafa, can you help us with this?" And you just kind of fell into it because you were pulled? Or was it something that
Yeah.
drew you to say, oh, you know what? I want to dabble over here. I want to dab. This looks interesting. Like, how did you end up?
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest part was I was impatient. So anytime that there was a challenge at work and I couldn't, no one had the answer, I was like, I can go read a book. I can Google
Mm,
it. My mom used to tell us when we would have questions, she wouldn't answer them until we looked the answer up first. So go find the encyclopedia, go find the dictionary, see what answer you can come up with, and then if you know if I need to help you expand on it, then we'll start. But always look for yourself first. So I think that's
mm,
something I've always done. Like, If there was a challenge and no one had the answer, okay, Google, YouTube, there's a book, is there a manual? So I think that was always the first place. And I'm always open to learn something new. So I found myself being aligned with different types of leaders who were in different spaces and being open to listening to what they were willing to share, being willing to try new things and receive feedback. And I think that that also made them more willing to teach me different things or to bring me in to see different areas, particularly in higher ed, because I was coachable. I was, able to be molded and to share. And so being able to be pulled into those spaces, you also learn different sides of how the same problem is impacting different people.
Mm.
So where I was looking, specifically just at the student struggle with registration, having an IT mentor, being able to say, but here's what's happening on the back end. And now my brain is like, oh, I can put two and two together. I can come up with a different approach to support the student. And so, yeah, just being impatient, but also being coachable, and staying curious. I think even now, just asking someone else, how do they do something? How do they resolve something? Gives me a different insight. My way isn't the only way. And just keeping that open mind and curiosity, which does lead me in random Google searches and
Mhm.
and what do they call them, wormholes at like midnight, because I become so fascinated with like this new thing. It's like a shiny toy. So
Mm. Ah, yeah, I totally get that. I know I was always not I wouldn't call myself all over the place, but I had that curiosity that you have, and I have that same level of impatience.
Mhm.
And for me, it was a lot of me trying to build a business, trying to figure stuff out with 0 budget. Right? Just, "Okay,
Resourcefulness.
I need
Yeah.
a website. Shoot, how do I do this? I know a
Yeah.
little bit about a website. I can build a website,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful, right?" And it's just a matter of, "Ugh, no one's gonna do this. Let me just get it done."
Get
I
it
don't
done.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's a great quality to have, but at the same time, it can be beneficial. So
Yeah.
let's talk about how all of these different things have been beneficial to you, especially now as you have your own business, you can pull from all of those things. So tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about how that works for you in business now.
Yeah. I have no desire to do IT coding. I don't want to be a coder, but I had to. I was working with a team who was building a new application system, and we had to figure out how to do some HTML coding. I had no experience in whatsoever. I thought if you posted a picture in the email, it was going to go out and it's going to look exactly like that. And they're like, no, that's not how that works. um, I don't want to do that on a daily basis. But when I am speaking with someone who is trying to, make their website or make email work, their marketing campaign work, I can understand what's taking place. And I don't want to be the one to fix it, but I can give recommendations or where to look, or maybe connect with someone else and help to be that bridge to communicate. I may not always have the proper language, but I have some sort of understanding of it. It's the same thing. My husband makes fun. He's like, "When did you become a graphic designer?" And I'm like, "I'm not. I've just learned to use Canva really well." Like, but you, in the process of enjoying creating, right, you pick up things on like color theory or font styles, or making sure your dimensions look correct, and making sure you have proper spacing. And so, no, I don't want to be a graphic designer. Please don't ask me to design your logo or design your page. But understanding those concepts helps me to communicate that to clients, to individuals I'm working with, people I'm partnering with, and saying, here's where we might want someone else to support. And so you're right, like learning those things, you don't want to do everything. Don't become a Jill of all trades, but it is helpful to at least immerse yourself with knowing a little bit of everything, to know how to get to where you want to go. And
Mm,
don't I no longer feel like I have to take on everything by myself. Um, but if you don't know, someone else can tell you something. If you have no idea, right? You can't correct them. You can't push back in some particular way. So I think even arming yourself with just basic knowledge helps you, you know, come back to me and say, no, that's not what I want to do, because you also have the language. And so yeah, don't do everything though. Don't say I got to build my website, so I'm going to build everybody else's website. I have no desire to do that.
right, right, right. Yeah, no, I have a lot of hidden talents. So, yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from with that for sure. So talk to me about finding your voice, right? So
Mm.
when it was time to talk about yourself, when it was time to sell yourself, when it was time to sell, whatever you're offering in your business, when it was time to do all those things, how did you figure out what to say about it, what not to say, and kind of filter through all of the different skills that you have?
Girl, I'm still working through that. um, I think the more you become comfortable with, you know how to do this, the easier it does become to start to speak to it, and want to speak to it publicly. I think I personally put a lot of pressure on putting myself out there, like even being on camera and saying that, oh, let's go live. I would have been like, I don't, I don't know if I want to do that. Let me sleep on that. So I've come a really long way, and I think part of it is, um, when you put yourself on Front Street, you open yourself up to other people's opinions, right? And so you never know how you never know how someone's going to receive something you said, or if they're going to challenge you and say, no, that's wrong, and give you something different, and then you start to doubt yourself. So I think building up that confidence, like it's okay, if someone else doesn't agree or there's a different perspective, is definitely helpful. And knowing that you're confident in what you're saying helps. I think also picking and choosing what you want to share. Like there is this pressure to feel like you see other people's. I'm always going to go to social media because I think that that's the place in which we're all really good lurkers. Like whether or not
Yeah.
you love social media or you want to engage with it, we can't deny that we're on social media in some capacity, right? Whether you're on LinkedIn now, you are on here, you're looking at other people that are in your field. What are they sharing? What are they doing? What certificates? And so it's so easy to compare to how other people are putting themselves out there, that you're like, if I can't do that, I'm not going to do it at all. Um,
Mm,
and I am still learning that the way that I talk to people one on one and they enjoy me, it's okay for me to just be that person. Like I feel like I'm extremely goofy sometimes. But people, if they like the goofiness as just having a one on one, then maybe someone who doesn't know me will also enjoy the goofiness while also being able to be supportive. Right. I'm not going to talk about being a fashionista if that's not my space. But if I think I look good and I want to share that, and I went to a conference and I want to show my outfit, I can do that in my own way. So I think it's a work in progress.
yeah.
And I will say the podcast has helped me a lot because I'm getting the practice of talking out loud, to sharing a little bit of my story, hearing it from other people. And it may not, be a million people listening to it, but when one person listens and they say, that one thing you said, really touched me, that I take to heart, and it means a lot to me. And it gives me the oomph I need to keep, sharing those little statements. So I didn't say
Yeah.
it perfect, but I said it enough for it to touch someone else. So
I love
building
that.
that muscle, building that confidence, I think you just have to keep doing it. And it's a work in progress. You're gonna have to keep, thinking about it and shape shifting, because you change over time. Where I was 3 years ago is not where I am now. And 3 years from now, I'll look back on this and I'm like, oh my God, I did so much rambling. I shouldn't have said that. And it's okay. It'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Um, so was there ever a time where you felt like an insecurity around not having focus?
Yes.
Talk to me
Yes.
a little bit about that and how you dealt with it.
Um, when you look at uh, friends and family members and colleagues who seem to know what they want to do, and maybe you started out at the same place, and then they seem to be progressing faster than you.
Mm,
Um, I would definitely sit back and say, what am I doing wrong? Am I not smart enough? Did I not talk enough? Like, especially when you see people who you feel that you could have done it better. Like, we all have those coworkers where you looked over and you're like, nah, I know I'm better than this person here.
mm, mhm,
But for whatever reason, it seems like they are achieving more, or they're getting more accolades, or they're getting more opportunities. And you're like, well, why is that? It's definitely it hits your self-esteem. And for me, being a people pleaser, being someone who always wanted to do well, to not feel like I was doing well was really, really hard. And so therapy was number one. How did I deal?
mm,
Therapy. My therapist was amazing, and I recommend it, especially if you're going through any big life shifts. Having someone who isn't so intimately involved in your life to be a sounding board is really helpful. So that was helpful. And I think now it's having a system of people who continuously affirm you. So
mm,
regardless if that is your your significant other, if that is your colleagues, if that's someone, a friend that you met along the way, knowing that there are people who can affirm you, who do hear you, who you can share with, that's the voice that you listen to when you don't have that inner voice for yourself. And so that's where I kind of go. And I'm learning to trust that if they say no, it's good, you're fine, those people aren't out to hurt me, and they would also be the ones to be like, no, take that back to the drawing board and try again.
mm. I love it. You talk a lot about success on your terms.
Hmm.
You know, on the podcast, you mentioned that. In
Hmm.
your bio, you mentioned that. So talk to me about what that looks like for someone who is multi-passionate.
For me, it looks like um, being able to say the way that I do it is the right way for me.
Mhm, mhm,
There, I especially when I talk to a lot of my clients or just friends who are trying to like figure out what they want to do next, right? Our examples of what looks right may be a Walmart, a Target, those big businesses, right? Or on a personal level, like the Beyoncés of the world, or the Rihannas of the world, or those people that the Issa Raes, right? I want to be like that, but you're like that may not look like their version of it. You're not them. The way you think is not going to be the same way, and you never know, like, your approach to things may be exactly what the world needs, right? And that's what I continue to try to remind myself, like, my approach is going to be the thing that's going to be helpful for someone else, and I have to embrace that, because I can't be someone else. So when I talk to people and I want to hear how they made success on their own terms, it's really like, how did you do this so that it works for you? How did you do it so that you're excited about it? You're proud of it. You feel joy around it. And it doesn't look like being a millionaire. It could be you got some sort of freedom in your time, or you were able to make an impact in your community, or, it just, the way that you decide to give back is innately who you believe you should be. I have a friend who calls herself the bougie gardener, because she is very, very much into fashion, and she everything bougie in her
mm,
mind, but she also loves playing in dirt. And so, there is other girls out there. I remember thinking to myself, I don't want to play in dirt or get my hands dirty, because I used to get my nails done every 3 weeks. So getting that underneath there, no, I'm not doing that. But yeah, she's someone that's like, I don't care. I'm go get my nails done, go get my toes done, wear all my jewelry, and I'm still going to plant these seeds and, be happy with life. That is success on your own terms, right? No one looks like you when you're doing it. And so I enjoy that because it helps me to remember when I feel like I look to my left and I look to my right and I'm not like those people, it's okay for me not to be like those people. And how I do things is because I have that unique set of skills. And just consistently reminding myself, like, I want it to be clear. It's a work in progress. It's not, I don't think anybody who tells you they're confident 100% of the time, 365%, 365 days of the years are liars. It's a work in progress. And there's always going to be a moment that reminds you that you are human, you make mistakes, um, and you can do things better. But I'm finding more security in knowing I am uniquely me and I am for someone, and however that looks, that's who I want to bring forth to the world every time.
I love that. And I
Yeah.
think it is very so important what you said about just looking and say, "Oh, I'm not like that person. Oh, yeah, I'm not like this person on the other side of me either." But not just feel like that's okay, but feel like that's great,
Yeah.
right? Feel
Yeah.
like that's a great thing. Good.
Yeah.
I'm not okay, I don't look okay, good. We're different. People can tell who I am versus who you are,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's so much of the opposite where people want to feel like they quote unquote fit in, and they feel like fitting in means being the same.
Yeah. And I think that that's a society thing, right? I think our
Yeah.
society likes the idea of being able to compartmentalize, to be able to package things together, group things together. So when you don't look or move in the way that everybody else does, it's like, I don't know what to do with you. And some people pull that off really, really well. And other people not so much. So just being able to be comfortable and say, um, it's okay, I don't look like you, but I'm still doing well, is something that you should definitely be proud of. Ah, I think we have a little technical. Melanie, you still there? Guys, don't disappear. Whoever's here, Melanie will be back. Oh gosh. So I just got a message from Melanie. She has some technical issues with her internet. See, things happen. You never know what's gonna go on. But I just wanted to say, when it comes to being yourself and being multi-passionate, I think the best advice that I can give is to know that you didn't gain those passions for nothing, and how you decide to put them all together um, is really going to determine your own success. It's not going to look like someone else. You don't have to do everything all at once. So case in point, like I mentioned, I love to craft, I love to play with glitter and glue, but I'm also learning it is my own personal outlet. So every passion doesn't have to be a money maker. Just being able to enjoy doing something and sharing it with family and friends when you want to is also okay. So being multi passionate, what that looks like, how you use those talents is up to you. Ground yourself in one space and be open to learning how you can use what you know well to support the thing that you're grounding yourself in. So for me, that is business strategy development. I do that with my podcast. I'm very, very much passionate about social impact. I like for things to matter and be impactful to our communities. And so helping others to birth ideas that are going to help other people is really important to me. And if that means helping you launch your big idea, being a sounding board, having a conversation with you about your journey, those are the ways that I'm connecting all of the things that I love and that I've become really good at to be successful and hopefully making my community just a little stronger. So don't get discouraged if you like a lot of different things. It's okay. You don't have to do all of them, but they can all be things that support you. So I am not sure if Melanie's going to be able to make it back on. If we do, we'll be back. But I do want to just say thank you so much to her for having me on and inviting me to the space to share. If you guys would love to connect with me, you can here on LinkedIn. My name is Kijaffa Hall. You can also catch my podcast, Coffee and a Notepad podcast, on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts. New episodes come out every Monday. This past Monday, I had the amazing chance to talk to two young ladies that started out as my students in a dual enrollment program, and now they're their own business owners in their own right. And so listen to their journey starting out as 16-year-olds starting their own business. So take a listen to the podcast. And if you are looking for support around your big ideas, feel free to connect with me, sign up for a coffee chat, and we can see how we can work together. She's still trying to get back on, so I am going to just step back for a minute while she tries to work that out. But I do want to say thank you so much, and hopefully we'll be back in a few minutes. Bye.
We're back. Yo, this is craziness. I gotta call these people because this happened to me last week on my podcast.
Oh no.
It's unacceptable
They're
now. So
haters. No.
like what? It just the little signal thing had an exclamation point on it.
Oh no. It happens.
We won't
It's
dwell on
okay.
it.
No.
So thank you so much for still kind of talking through
No.
that a little bit there. I apologize. Um, but yeah, just wanted to kind of have a clean wrap up. Um, I would like for you to talk a little bit about your business and what you do
Yeah.
and how, all of your multiple skills
Things.
have contributed to you being a
Yes,
service.
yes. I am the CEO and founder of KZ Hall Consulting, where I help businesses and organizations, I mean individuals, to launch their big ideas for social impact. So if you are someone, you don't have to be working in a nonprofit space, but if you have a business and you want to make sure you're doing good for your community, whether that is through fundraising or donating part of your proceeds to a foundation, or if you are looking to just say you want to connect with your community in a different way, those are the ideas that I'm most excited about. So I am helping businesses and organizations to strategize and refine their ideas. If you need one-on-one just clarity sessions, I find especially for women, I hope this changes over time with like my nieces. But with women, we tend to talk ourselves out of things that we know we want to do because we're not sure what the end is going to look like. And so if you just need a clarity session to know what you need to do and ground yourself in facts, you can set up a clarity call and we can refine your ideas. I allow you to dream, but I'm also there to support you as you are figuring out what your next steps are going to be. And let's put together an action plan so you can stick with the facts, the real things that are going to get you there. And then if you are looking for support, just to be in community with other people, you can either be a part of the accountability group. I will share that information out on my LinkedIn very soon. Or you can come to my podcast. You can listen every week on Mondays where I get to talk to different entrepreneurs, business individuals, coaches about creating success on your own terms. If you have a unique story about your business, entrepreneurship, or creating success on your own terms, please reach out to me. I love meeting new people, and I would love to hear your story. You never know who's going to be the person you impact the most. So yeah, so connect with me on my website, kzhall.com, here on LinkedIn. Check out Coffee and a Notepad podcast. Instagram stalk me. That's absolutely fine. Come and say hello on the page on Instagram. I'm probably there a lot more than I should be. But yes, those are all the things. I'm here to help you live a life that looks good for you and hopefully does well for your community in the process. So,
Awesome. Thank you so much for spending the time today to chat with me. I
yeah,
appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing your story. And
yeah,
if you are looking to start a business for social and to make some impact,
yeah,
book a free call.
yeah.
Book a call
Let
with
me
Kim.
know.
All
Come and
right.
chit chat. Let's be random together. Random with a purpose. Let's random with a purpose.
I love it. I love that you've been able to not get lost in the sauce with all the things, because a lot
Yeah,
of times when people I found that a lot of times when people have multiple things, they get stuck
yeah,
and they stagnant because they can't focus in on anything. I think you
yeah,
do have to be able to focus in on something to be able to move forward, right? And so the fact
yeah,
that you have been able to do that, so you start a podcast, you start a business, you work with a nonprofit, you got
yeah,
things going on, and the
yeah.
skills and all the different things haven't distracted you into
Yeah.
just
And and just reframing that idea of distraction, right? Sometimes when we are so tunnel vision in the way that we're doing things, that we feel like taking breaks are going to derail us from what success looks like. And I'm learning and accepting that sometimes, even in trying to make decisions for myself and my business, that having something else that also gives me joy allows my brain to just rest for a moment, to be able to think in a different way, gives me room to kind of breathe, so that when I come back it feels fresh and new again, right? And so yeah, I think people who are mostly passionate get a bad rap, because the world just wants you to like one thing, but like everything, just really remember that the way you decide to make it all work for you is the most important thing. Make it
Mhm.
work for you. Don't exhaust yourself feeling like you have to do everything. It's not going anywhere. It's already inside you, right? Just pick and choose time and place, and that's what I do. I love problem solving. Give me a puzzle to solve. That's where I'm most happy. But sometimes that looks like drawing on the wall, and other times that means having good one-on-one conversations, and sometimes just conversations like this. So yeah, don't shy away from who you are and what skills have come to you in whatever
Yeah.
way it's come.
I love that, love that, love that. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. And we're
Mhm.
going to go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah.
Happy
Thank,
self marketing, guys. See y'all next time.
yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Bye.